always want to support individuals that bring the brand high. But TUT will also want to reject individuals that take the that you represent must also carry that. So some of the things that comes in are things that are self-made by us as graduate, and then they come at the end and haunt us. But also the attitude, we need to transition from a student attitude to a prospective employee or an employee attitude. And an attitude of someone who's looking at a job is very different from an attitude of someone who's still a student. You know, when you are still a student, everything you still have a dependent mentality or attitude that you possess. You still feel that everything will come to you and all of that.
Yeah.
When situation changes, because now you are no longer a student. You are now someone that an organization want to trust in running their business with. So an organization wants to trust you as human capital. So the attitude of how you possess yourself will also play in a role finding your job.
Sure. Definitely spoken like a true services specialist and a senior employment officer there. But you know what? I will touch base on a very important point as you made there, CVs, and I'll come with it. We'll have a very big conversation in terms of CV applications and even interviews and even the foundation. But for now, I want to take one last question. But before I do that, so that we take an ad break, we come back so that we start properly and fresh, because there was a little bit of technical difficulties there. Let's break down this issue of social media before taking this other last question. Now, when you say a person has to have this particular specific aura on the social media, their digital footprint, yeah, very understandable. But what's your sentiment on someone who then says, but social media is then my private life, and I allowed to have, myself privately do this particular things that I want to do?
I will agree. Social media is your private life.
Yeah.
But it always connects. And I'm happy you have asked that. I always say, if you have
the fountain of life, to say
and the criminal record does not relate anything to your work, that's your personal life. Unfortunately, today I am Bonginkosi Sithole. I work for the Department of Labor. Until I resign from the Department of Labor, I cannot deassociate myself from the opposition that I occupy at the department. That's the first thing.
Sure.
Number two, so everywhere where I go, they see me as a public servant.
Mm-hmm.
And that also becomes part of my personal life. So where I work also connects to my personal life. And then it also brings in to what you do as an individual and connect to the work. So I always tell individuals that when companies hire you, they do not just hire you, they buy a resource. This is what we call human resource.
Sure.
So you cannot say it's your personal life when it affects
the company,
the business of the employer.
Mm-hmm.
It can be your personal life if it doesn't affect the business of the employer. But if then what you do on social media gives a negative reflection to the employer, then it's no longer your social life, it's no longer your personal life, because that life and the person that you are cannot be disassociated. I cannot be found in the public insulting people outside the public, regardless of whether it's my personal life or not.
Sure.
Because I'm associated with the name public servant. I'm expected to, even when I'm not at work, to represent the employer in a good image. You see, today I'm not at work. I'm currently out of office. It's my space now. It's my time. but I cannot say things that are incriminating,
Yeah.
because then I also partially represent the employer, even if I'm on my personal capacity.
Sure.
So at some point, we need to be able to understand that what you do to the social media reflects who you are, as much as it reflects in your resume.
Sure. True and definitely said, and beautifully said, very clear and concise. Let me take this last question, then we'll take a very quick ad break. And when we come back from that, I told you I want us to look into the readiness of graduates, where we are building this particular foundation. I want us to look into CVs, applications, and even interviews. But understanding the state of the labor market, Mr. Sithole, I think will help the graduates plan realistically. So I'm having Angela Makwela here. She's doing her first year. Soon she's about to graduate. How would you describe the current employment landscape for graduates in South Africa right now?
Okay. I'm thinking I will just give you so that everyone can understand. I will not point into specific careers, because I want everyone to have an understanding of what is happening in South Africa. South Africa has produced a number of graduates. Most of individuals in South Africa are highly educated, but we need to also look into what is the labor market requiring.
Sure.
For instance, there is a very huge revolution in technology.
Yeah.
So if you want to set up yourself for quicker employment, then you will then bring yourself closer to qualifications that relate to ICT, IA, engineering, in software, programming, and all of it, because that's where we're moving in. But that doesn't also take away that South Africa also demands a lot of skills. Because I studied law, I studied public affairs, I studied business management, and all of those are good qualifications. But then I cannot go and work at a power station and say I want to be an artisan with those qualifications, even if tomorrow I were to be unemployed, because I do not possess the hard skill to be able to do that. So I'm saying, as much as we want soft skill, the nicer degrees, we must also have a bigger picture of how do we also transition to the hard skills that requires your hands, skills that require your technical understanding other than theoretical understanding.
Sure. Definitely. Thank you so much for that. You know what? Please go grab yourself a glass of water. We'll be back. I'm going to take a very quick ad break. Ladies and gentlemen, remember you can be part of this conversation by sending in your thoughts, your comments, your WhatsApp on 012-382-9257. That is 012-382-9257. And remember, this is Plug a Graduate, and in conversation with us, Mr. Bonginkosi as Sithole, who's now the Senior Employment and Services Specialist at the Department of Labor. We're speaking setting up yourself for employment as a fresh graduate. And he spoke on very important things there. Social media presence. You can't be out there then saying no. What, but it's on social media, jumping on tables while you're then representing your brand. Remember, as an individual, you're a brand. Also looking into then saying that graduating is not at the beginning. There's a lot of issues that needs to touch base on job requirements, job descriptions, and also mentioned a very key issue there to then say, as South Africa, we need to look into the demand of what the sectors are then offering or wanting, and then supply the correct workforce there. Cannot be saying a lot of things there, wanting people to study certain things that will not assist us in the future. Please don't go anywhere. I take a very quick ad break. When I come back from that, we'll have more conversations. Please don't go anywhere.
TUT FM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Independent Communication Authority of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving you content that is fair, programming that is not harmful, and news that is accurate. If you think that we are not living up to the code, then you can lodge a complaint to the station manager. Direct complaints to mahapaek@tut.ac.za or call 012-382-9719. We will respond within 7 working days. If you are not satisfied with our response, then you can escalate your complaint to the Independent Communication of Authority of South Africa. Direct your complaint via email to bmashego@icasa.org.za or via post to Independent Communication Authority of South Africa, 350 Witch Hazel Avenue, Eco Park Estate, Centurion, 0144. Or call 012-568-3000. TUT FM 96.2, amplifying voices, empowering lives.
The Groundbreakers, Mondays to Thursdays, 7 to 9 p.m. on TUT FM. Stay informed, stay ahead with the Groundbreakers.
As consumers, sometimes we are unaware of the issues that are concerning us, right? And the protections that we can get from them. You walk into a store, you're trying to buy something, or there was false advertising, there's a sneaker that you want to buy, you go into the shop, and eventually there's a lot of issues concerning that, and you feel that you are being discriminated against, violated against, and what are the protections against that?
Hosted by Polelo and Madisa. Join us every Monday to Thursday as we tackle issues shaping the world.
And on the video, they show a lady walking. Yes, it's late in the evening. We're not sure of the time, but we'd assume, let's say 8 or 9. The lady's coming from wherever she's coming from. She's walking down the road, busy on the phone, and they come from behind her. They snatch the phone. They hit her with a few slaps, pour petrol or paraffin, whatever the liquid was, and they set her alive. How sad is that? Is this what the country has gone to?
From 7 to 9 on TUT FM 96.2.
Imagine now, we're standing at 3,000 unidentified bodies. Right. It's only September. End of it, actually, it's going to be October next week. What happens when it comes December time? Right?
The Groundbreakers, where facts meet fearless conversations, because we amplify voices and empowering lives.
Are you a recent graduate or know somebody who is navigating the job market maze? Are you looking for that perfect job opportunity to kickstart your career? Well, look no further, because TTFM 96.2 has got you covered. Introducing Plug a Graduate show, debuting on April 10th at 7:30 on the Groundbreakers. Join us every Wednesday evening for 1 hour of career-changing insights and opportunities. From interviews with successful alumni to spotlight on industry leaders and recruitment agencies, Plug a Graduate is your one-stop destination for all things career-related, added with practical skills, invaluable advice, and real-time job opportunities. You won't want to miss a single episode. Tune in live on TTFM 96.2 or the TTFM website and the online streaming platform. Don't just dream about your future, make it happen with Plug a Graduate Show. Join the movement and unlock the door to your professional success.
It is definitely 5 minutes after the hour, 8 o'clock. You are still listening to TUT FM 96.2, amplifying voices, empowering lives. And this is another beautiful edition of Plug a Graduate. And remember, in our conversation, we are speaking to Mr. Bonginkosi Sithole, who's now the Senior Employment and Services Specialist coming in from the Department of Labor. And we are speaking, setting yourself up for employment as a graduate. And I want to bring him back on the line. And Mr. Sithole, good evening once again. And I hope you did get yourself that cup of water.
Yeah, no, I think Mr. Madisa, good evening again, and to your listeners again.
Sure. Let's get into this particular stuff. I told you when we come back, I want us to look into graduate readiness in terms of building the foundation, and then we'll then speak CVs, application. We speak a lot of things this evening, a very intriguing, a beautiful conversation. That is why I was telling some of our listeners that they should take their pens and paper and be ready to jot down these issues. Now, we spoke of it, that graduating is not the beginning. This is what you said. Graduating is not the beginning, and graduates often leave campuses with a qualification, but with a little understanding of what the employer wants, because you then spoke of job requirements and even job descriptions, right? Then I bring in this question to you to then say, What are some of these first steps that a graduate should take immediately after finishing up their studies to then prepare for that particular job market? For instance, I studied journalism, graduated, and then let's say I'm about to graduate. What are some of the first steps that one should take immediately to then prepare for the job market?
Okay. I think I just want to put it clear when I say graduating, I mean it's not only the beginning. It means it is the beginning, but not only the beginning.
Yeah.
And when we say now I'm about to graduate, I think you started it very well when you say I'm about to, because that's where the groundwork happens. You don't want to be shocked after the graduation day that you are now unemployed. You don't want to be shocked. You want to get ready and prepare for what is coming ahead, and it begins with understanding that for you to get an employment, there must something that you must have. I'm sure you understand that you have a girlfriend, Madisa. You must something that you must do. You prepare yourself, you cut your hair, you have your beautiful fade and all of that. But then in employment, because you cannot go like back in the days, knock door to door, you must, number one, understand the platforms of where you apply for jobs. That's the first thing that you need to do. You must understand we live in a digital technology now where we no longer depend on dropping in CV, knocking on offices and all of that looking for a job. We use the systems that are available. Most of government departments, private institutions are using those platforms. And there are various number of those platforms. You just need to pick up the right one and the legitimate one. The first one. Number two, it's the understanding that for the fact that you will not be always there to say I'm looking for a job, there must be something that talks for you. And what talks for you when you're not there is what we call a CV, or a resume. It depends on what you call it. But then a CV, it cannot be a Bible. We also need to remember that 2 pages is enough. At some point, 1 page, because you're still from TUT. We call you a fresher now in the employment. Remember when you were still a new student at TUT, you were fresh. So now you became a senior, you graduated, you're an alumni, but you're still a fresher in the employment industry. So you ought to have a very short CV, but in your CV, be able to highlight the very much important things. I've seen a lot of funny things in CVs that we'll also talk about as we see.
Sure, yeah.
But be able to highlight your education, your skills, your voluntary work, and I'll talk about this as we go down. Internships and leadership roles you've had, so that this can be able to understand. I mean, this can be able to come out in your CV. Number two, we live in a world where I've said it's a digital world. Most of us, if I were to search you, Mr. Madisa, today, I'll find you on Instagram, I'll find you on Facebook, I'll definitely find you on Twitter and TikTok. And it will make a lot of sense for me. You've just said you're a journalist. So as a journalist, your digital print must be very clear. We must see you everywhere in those platforms. It makes sense. But most of us as students will have Facebook, will have your Instagram, but will fail to have what we call a LinkedIn profile. Because the LinkedIn profile now will then connect connect your profile in your field, and also make your profile to be there as a digital view of yourself. So it sells your CV in a digital way. So somebody can see what you do, where have you studied, what experience do you possess, and all of that. Employers that are looking, and they are what we call recruitment agencies are using LinkedIn to recruit individuals. And then we're talking practical things today here. Some of the graduates, they don't even understand how to write a CV. In South Africa, we have what we call labor centers. So these are centers where you can come into a labor center and meet a qualified employment counselor or a career counselor. And I know most of the graduates are not aware of that, but we must make the graduates aware of this. We must be loud about it.
True.
So you will run into a platform where in the Department of Labor you will be assisted with how to write CV. So they will teach you about CV writing skills. They will teach you about what we call job readiness strategies, and also what we call ethics. Remember, as you go to work, there are certain ethics that you need to know.
Yeah.
But also, there are certain standards that you need to also understand. A person that is looking for a job, how do I answer my call? How do I dress up for an interview? And those centers, they are available across the country. I think each and every town has a labor center. You can just bring in your CV, and then they take your CV into a clinic. Then they diagnose the problem, they set it up for you so that it looks and customized in a customized, if I can say.
Yeah.
And also able to assist you with registering your CV into the database so that you connect yourself with opportunities that are going to be available in the future. So as we talk about the things that you need to be ready about immediately when you are just about to graduate, this is the first step. Then you get into the other.
Sure. Proper stuff. You know what? I'm very intrigued. My mind is blowing up. I'm looking into the labor centers. You know what? And you're speaking a lot of CVs. You know what? Let me take this last question and let's jump directly into the part of CVs, because as you keep on reiterating that the issues of CV, I think maybe the issues might lie there within the CV. So let me take this last question, or in terms of the foundation, and we'll jump straight into the issue of CVs, because I'm more concerned about the labor centers. Where do we find them? Because I think a lot of our issues could have been solved. Now, remember, there becomes a period where one is then applying for employment but not getting anything. How can graduates then use that in-between time productively to then improve their employability as I'm waiting for graduation? Maybe, for instance, as I've finished my internship, I'm still waiting to graduate, or I'm still sending out this curricular advertise and all of that, but I'm not doing anything. What can I do in the between time to productively improve my employability?
Okay, you're taking me. I think if I were a person that writes notes, I would say you have stolen my notebook.
Sure.
But I'm not a person that usually write notes, so I don't know. You might have entered my mind.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I call it in the meantime. Most of the time, I call it in the meantime. Don't idle.
Mm-hmm.
A human being never idles.
Sure.
A human mind never idles. We should always learn that.
Mm-hmm.
That if you're not growing, it means you're dying. It's simple as that. And that's what a lot of us in South Africa. And it's the graduate attitude that we possessed back in the days, and it worked. You know, it worked for me. I've never walked around looking for employment. It's great, I can say, but also the labor market at the time demanded what I had. But with the current situation now, businesses and employers are looking for individuals that they can use. They are looking for capital, and we call it human capital. So in your CV, if you have almost a year that you have been not working and not doing anything, there were no economic activities that you were involved in. As an employer, it will trigger me to question, are you not a lazy person? Then what? So then, in the meantime, I always advise graduates to say, you shouldn't be time waiting like you're taking a gap year. Find yourself voluntary work. Find yourself voluntary internships where you can go into an industry. I always say, look into what comes into the market that requires your qualification, because that's the thing that you have. Remember, we talked about what I have in the job requirement.
Yeah.
So I do have qualification, but there are other things that you might not have in the job. In the job advert. You sit down with job adverts and you look, what is it that is being advertised the most what you have studied. You're failing to do that, you can always go to the Department of Labor. But I don't want you to be lazy as a graduate. Sit down. You are taught research for certain reasons that you are able, I think, in each and every university you graduate at your fourth level or third level, they will teach you research so that you are able to gather data and sit down and analyze that. So look into what is being advertised. I'll make an example. You did journalism. So you'll check, are they looking for radio presenters? Are they looking for field journalists? Looking for perhaps news readers and all of that, news writers and all of that, and reporters, you name it.
Yeah.
And as you look into that, you look, what is it that they are looking for that you do not have? If they are saying they're looking for a driver's license, how do I get a driver's license so that I can meet the requirement? If they are saying they're looking for someone who has worked as a radio presenter so that they can get the space, how do I then get into a radio and be of value, even if I might not be a radio presenter? How do I get into TUT FM and say, I want to learn how does a show start and end? I don't want to be the presenter as yet, but I want to sit in next to Mr. Madisa and see how he starts his show and ends his show, how he opens and all of that. That's practical learning. And you do not have that in your qualification.
Sure.
You cannot even lie to me as a graduate when we're sitting in an interview that I studied journalism at some point, I will go, because I will not have references of that. But when you have went to TUT FM, you live in possess. The graduate spent a year learning how to present. Then they'll offer you the opportunity and be able to understand that you have the functional experience of what is happening. That also brings me to say, go volunteer with what you have. Go to the company and say, I've seen you have advertised for this post, and I'm not qualified because I do not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the job advert. But I am willing to come and volunteer for a year that I can possess and learn the following skills that I do not have. This will help me to gain experience and boost my resume. Companies will always come there. Graduates have asked me a very tough question to say, in the moment, then what do I eat? What do I use for transport? I've used, there's a Zulu saying that says, the one that hunts is the one that catches.
Sure.
So there is no one that is going to see you again, even if you are staying at your own home and you are not looking for a job. Anyway, the year will pass. It's better when you're in someone's premises that teaches you about the work and you're gaining experience. I'm telling you, 2 months, 3 months down the line, you will hear from them because of your competency and also of the level of good work that you do will speak for yourself. You'll hear the employer say, no, we have realized that for the past 3 months we've been doing well, so we have decided to take internship to that. But there's no employer that can go to your house and say, I'm looking for a person that can come and do an internship that does not have experience. You'll never see that as a graduate. If you are told that, then you are told a lie.
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, at 20 minutes after the hour, 8 o'clock, and in conversation with us, Mr. Bonginkosi as Sithole, who's now the Senior Employment and Service Specialist coming in from the Department of Labor, and we're speaking setting yourself up for employment as a graduate. And I'll tell you, he's spitting fire. Now, he then mentioned that if you're not, and I do not want to misquote you there, Mr. Sithole, I got it in a glimpse because you were spitting pregnant pointers that you said, if you're not growing, you're dying.
If you're not growing, you're dying. That's exactly what I said, my leader, to say. It's either you grow or you die.
You die, and you brought in, and yeah.
That's the either you're growing or you're dying. There's no person that gets a pause. There's no pause in life.
Yeah.
If you stop growing, it means you die.
Sure, beautifully said there. And you came into then said, those who hunt are the one that catches. That would say, so if you're not trying, you're not going to get into anything. But as you are speaking, you then mentioned the issue of CVs and even interviews. Let me jump into that. You then said CVs shouldn't be longer than 2 pages. So let's start it off here, because now that particular CV is the only, not even the only, but the first chance to impress an employer, but as graduates we tend to get it wrong. Let me start with the CV and I'll come with the interview question to then say, what are some of the common mistakes you have seen graduates make when preparing their CVs?
Okay, I think number one is it's that we are so lazy. I must say, we are so lazy, and I want to repeat that on purposefully. As I don't know where do we learn the culture of. We are dependent into artificial intelligence,
Oh, yes.
and at some point it doesn't help us because we rob in things from UK, from America, and all of things that you can get there. People will just go in and get what we call intelligence CVs, put their pictures there, and the CV doesn't even talk to what the employer wants. You find America, they start with skills and all of that. By the time the employer looks at your CV, he thinks all of those things are not there, but not necessarily because they are not there. It's because the CV is haphazard. Remember, a CV should be able to represent you. And if you start seeing my feet without seeing my arms, chances are that you are going to say I'm disabled because you have not seen me in the order of how human beings should be seen. Even a CV, if you bring in the arms as the head and the head as the arms, your CV is disabled.
Sure.
So you apply with the disabled CV. I'm sorry to use that term because I know it might look bad, but I'm trying to bring in a figurative speech here to say, let your CV talk logic. Number one, let it start with your personal information, even if it's not decorated, even if it's not beautiful, because I know we're youngsters, we are so vibrant, we want to bring the zeal and the creativity in the CV. But remember, this is a formal document that needs to present wherever you go as a professional individual. So start fresh with your education. I mean, your personal details. Who are you? Some will put their the summary of themselves. It's also fine. This summary of the. Then you will just explain. I am Bonginkosi Sithole, who possesses a national diploma in public management, a BTech in public management, an honors in public affairs, LLB degree, a master's in business administration. You name all of those qualifications and have 5 years functional experience in the federal government, private sector, so forth and so forth. Then that explain the summary of the CV. So if an employer don't want to read the whole thing, I can quickly dash there and get an abstract of who you are. But if you don't want to put that, it's fine. You can just go straight to it, have your personal details. Your personal details should be clear. When you talk about personal details, we talk about who you are. I'm Bonginkosi Sithole. I have an ID number. I have a date of birth. I have a gender. I have an ethnic group or race. An African. Those are the most important things. That is about itself. Then I'll have my address. I'll have my contact numbers. I'll have my email address and all of that. That talks to me as an individual. You find candidates say, I'm a Christian. Yeah? Someone will say religion, Christian. And I am a Christian too, but I don't want you to take a blanket approach and believe that everyone is a Christian. We live in South Africa. Not every employer is a Christian. There are those that are now, there are those that are Hindu. So do not put things that are you.
Sure.
It's not necessary. You don't need to put that. It doesn't help you to find a job. You find someone putting criminal status, yes or no, and someone will say criminal status and no. What are you saying about that? If you say criminal status and then you say no, what are you saying about it? Why do you even, if you do not have that? Mr. Madisa, do you have a driver's license? You said no. Why do you even write about it?
If you don't have it, sure.
You shouldn't even put. People will put their relationship status, single, and all of that. I don't think that will affect you from getting a job. Whether you're single or married or widowed or divorced, you still get a job. Those are not factors that can
Yeah.
allow you or put you a job.
Sure.
I think disability is one that can
Yeah.
be able
Yeah. True.
the nature of your disability, living with disabilities. Those are the most important things that define you as an individual. We talk about it when we say personal details. So there are things like your hobbies. I prefer to say not put hobbies, because hobbies is something else. What are you saying when you say hobbies? Because that's not an ability. It's a hobby. My hobby, I write. It's my hobby. I write.
And then within hobbies, I often tell people that hobbies is something that people don't even have to know about. You don't even have to make money of that. We shouldn't even know what is your hobby.
Exactly. You're telling the truth. I agree with you. We shouldn't even know what is your hobby. So why does it even have to come to your CV? Because hobbies we mean lazy stuff that I do when I'm bored. So why do we know your stuff when you're bored? We believe that you never get bored because we want to use you as an organization.
Yeah, sure.
So those are the things that you should eliminate. If you are a graduated listening now, take a pen and sit with your CV.
Yeah.
We want to have this show to be impactful to your life, not just a talk show. We want to create impact into your life. So scratch those things out and retype your CVs tomorrow.
Sure.
Because those things you have to have them in your CV.
You know what?
That's the look. Then you need to also include your educational background.
Okay, sure.
From the AP, what have you studied? You start with the highest one.
The highest, yeah.
Because that's the most important one. You have a national diploma in journalism, a BTech in journalism, perhaps masters in journalism.
Yeah.
And then you start with the masters, the BTech, and the national diploma. Your matric, it should always reflect. We don't omit matric, it should always reflect there. If you have studied other
qualifications
that are not in the formal structure of education, perhaps you did your certifications, you'll also include that in your education. Then you'll then put your voluntary work, your internships, your work integrated learning. If you have done work, I always tell people that work integrated learning is experience.
Yeah, true.
Because you were there to work, you were working.
Yeah.
Even if it was for the completion of your course, but you were there working. The reason why universities have brought that, it's because they want to slowly introduce you to the world of work. So you find graduates omitting that, Mara was not working. Will that not limit me to get an internship? No, it's clear what you were doing. It's called work integrated learning.
Yeah.
So you just as it is. I've done a work integrated learning. You put that. That will also bring you up scores when you even go to interviews to say, I worked for 6 months, even if it was for work integrated learning, but I was doing the practical work.
Yeah.
I have the functional experience. Then you will then put in your skills. You will then put in your leadership roles if you have had. This will help you also in your resumes. Then there comes the part where you put your references.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of things in references. My sister, my mother, and all of them. Remember, in reference, your mother will never. If I can call your mother now and say, Mr. Madisa, I will never say that my son is a bad man and all of that.
Yeah, sure.
Always give me a good reference of you.
Yeah.
But then we need people that are not related to you, if I can say.
Yeah, they're keen. They're not keen to you.
Not related to you. We need people like we know you have never worked, but you are from a university. So there's a lecturer, there's a mentor. There's also a community leader where you come from. These are a pastor, counselor, leader. Back you had a teacher also. You can put those individuals as reference. We need people who are credible, that can be able to find something out about you from them. Not from a boyfriend, some put friends. And now you call the boyfriends, they are no longer in a relationship with the boyfriend saying,
yeah.
So all of those affect you. But those are the things that you need to craft into your CV. Simple as that. The one-page CV will give you the best. Should you not understand how to customize your CV? I've mentioned before, we have labor centers in the country, in each and every town. And we have what we call either an employment counselor or career counselor that is going to definitely help you to tailor make your CV.
Sure. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Sithole. You know what? You mentioned a very critical point there. Interviews. Let me take a question regarding interviews, and we'll take a very quick ad break. Especially, I think the last one. When we come back from that, I want us to look into opportunities that are there for graduates coming in from your department or that you may know of, and also what employers can expect, and also pathways to employability. But speaking of interviews, interviews can be intimidating, especially for people that may have little experience. I want to understand, what are some of the practical tips that graduates can use to better perform during the interviews? And also, how important is appearance, confidence, and even etiquette in an interview setting? Because I always tell people, I think I lost out on a job opportunity because of the way that I was wearing. I went to an interview with overalls, and I'm like, oh yeah, no. It's a plus job, you Mr.
Madisa, I always say, going to an interview, you are going to Uyoshelin in Tombi, which is the employer.
Yeah.
And I always say, if we are Sheila and you come with untidy hair, you see you putting a circa red here, and ngapha uphethe ibhodlela lepia, who will get into your proposition?
Yeah.
No one. Because even your outlook doesn't look like the person that needs to come there. You can't come to an interview as if you are a wanted criminal, number one.
Yeah.
You don't even have to have expensive clothes or nice looking clothes.
Mm-hmm.
A simple, nice shirt. And I always prefer to say, if you get a simple singular color shirt. If it's white, it's white. If it's blue, it's blue. If it's black, it's black.
Yeah.
Then it's a formal shirt, formal trouser. If you're a lady, you can do a formal skirt, formal trouser, and all of that. Those, you see, I'm talking about practical things. They look small. One will ask, why will they want that? Musi, I'm trying to here for interview. They want content and not what I want. But I always say, yes, remember the image and the professionalization of the industry that you're going to.
Mm-hmm.
So they will always that employers will always want to maintain that. Some people will have to interact with clients, so there's a certain dress code that they want to see from you. But you're able to understand the setup of the dress code. So those are the reasons, and also how you present yourself, your cleanliness, and all of that counts in an interview, especially in the private sector. In government, might not. In the private sector, a lot of impact. But again, there are questions. Those are the fears. Number two is when you go into an interview, what creates a fear is that you do not know what they are going to ask you. That's the biggest fear. My biggest fear tonight, I mean, an interview with I do not know the type of questions this demonstrator is going to go in. But if I know my subject, I will not even worry what you are going to ask me.
Sure.
That's the first thing. Number two, then how do I then prepare that I do not get worried? There's what we call the job advert, Mr. Madisa. You see the job advert itself. Those are interview questions.
Sure.
You see the job advert. If they are saying we're looking, we'll put their duties, they'll put their requirement, they will put the skills on the advert. Always put that. The post name, the department where it is. They do that for purpose. Those are the interview for the questions. They will ask you, tell us about yourself. Yourself in relation to what? To the advert. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about yourself in relation to the job. I am Bonginkosi Sithole. I hold a master's degree in business management. I've worked for government for almost 7 years. I worked for the private or for Parastelitas, which was a university, for 3 years. I have extensive experience in administration in government. You see, I'm now talking to the post that they've advertised me. I'm not telling them that I used to talk 2013. I'm good hard worker. They don't even want to know that. They want to know your skill into the post. what is it that you possess that the post requires?
Mm-hmm.
So it's in the advert. So you answer what is in the advert, in your in your CV. First is history, then you can just add that for your own self. They're asking you when they yourself is that will also bring you confidence, because you'll even see the body communication from the panel that I'm talking to the people now. I'm telling them what is right. But if you do not know about yourself, now they start shaking heads there, and they start facing down. That will take your confidence away.
Mm-hmm.
To an extent that when you even get to answers that you know, you might not be able to answer the questions because now your confidence has deteriorated because of the first question.
Sure.
Why do you think you're the best candidate? They still talk about the job advert. The job advert still tells you why you are the best candidate. They are looking for matric. They are looking for someone who has a degree in journalism. I do have a degree in journalism. I'm currently studying towards my postgraduate diploma in journalism or my advanced diploma in journalism. So you have extra.
Yeah.
You understand? You're telling them why you should be the best. It's because I have extra of what you're looking for. And the post is looking for someone in experience. I volunteered for an organization for over 3 years to gain experience, functional experience, extra. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So best, it means I'm sure some cases level A1.
Yeah.
Then you were same level, but what makes you to be up the level? You're having extra of what is in the job advert. So you don't have to scratch your head. What questions are they going to ask me, and all of that? All of the questions that they're going to ask you are in the job advert.
Sure. Beautiful stuff there. Ladies and gentlemen, a minute before 20 minutes before the hour 9 o'clock, so Harris will come in and take over the hot seat and conversation with us, Mr. Bonginkosi Sithole, who's now the Senior Employment and Service Specialist rather at the Department of Labor, and we setting yourself up for employment as a graduate. I want to take a very quick ad break. When I come back from that, I want to look into plugging graduate with opportunities coming in from the Department of Labor or other opportunities that are there. Mr. Sithole, let me take a very quick ad break. I'll be back after this. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll definitely be back after this.
Are you a recent graduate or know somebody who's navigating the job market maze? Are you looking for that perfect job opportunity to kickstart your career? Well, look no further, because TUT FM 96.2 has got you covered. Introducing Plug a Graduate show debuting on April 10th at 7:30 on the Groundbreakers. Join us every Wednesday evening for 1 hour of career-changing insights and opportunities. From interviews with successful alumni to spotlight on industry leaders and recruitment agencies, Plug a Graduate is your one-stop destination for all things career-related, added with practical skills, invaluable advice, and real-time job opportunities. You won't want to miss a single episode. Tune in live on TUT FM 96.2 or the TUT FM website and the online streaming platform. Don't just dream about your future, make it happen with Plug a Graduate Show. Join the movement and unlock the door to your professional success.
The Groundbreakers, Mondays to Thursdays, 7 to 9 p.m. on TUT FM. You can follow us on Facebook at TUT FM 96.2, on Twitter and Instagram at TUTFM_962.
Add us to your favorites. And keep your
Radio
on TUT FM.
That's my baby, that's my baby, that's my baby girl. That's my baby girl. My baby girl.
Yeah, this station's got soul.
Are you a recent graduate or know somebody who's navigating the job market maze? Are you looking for that perfect job opportunity to kickstart your career? Well, look no further, because TUT FM 96.2 has got you covered. Introducing Plug a Graduate show debuting on April 10th at 7:30 on the Groundbreakers. Join us every Wednesday evening for 1 hour of career-changing insights and opportunities. From interviews with successful alumni to spotlight on industry leaders and recruitment agencies, Plug a Graduate is your one-stop destination for all things career-related, added with practical skills, invaluable advice, and real-time job opportunities. You won't want to miss a single episode. Tune in live on TUT FM 96.2 or the TUT FM website and the online streaming platform. Don't just dream about your future, make it happen with Plug A Graduate Show. Join the movement and unlock the door to your professional success.
It is definitely 20 minutes before the hour 8. No, 8. Definitely before what? 9 o'clock, and soon after that, Sir Harris will come in to give you the date night show. Shoo, what happened there? Lost Mr. Sol. I thought I lost you there. Definitely back. Right. Sure. 20 minutes before Sir Harris comes in and give you the date night show. But remember, let's finish up this particular conversation. Mr. Sithole, I want us to look into plugging graduates with opportunities. And this may be within your Department of Labor, or other opportunities that you have. I'll tell you this. Government then plays a very big role in terms of employment services. But many graduates don't know where to get access to this particular support. So what specific initiatives does your department have in place to then assist the graduates?
Thank you so much, my the Department of Employment and Labor has what we call a branch, and it's the branch that I'm working for.
Yeah.
And I particularly work to do that. We have a branch called Public Employment Services that sits down to help not only graduate, because we're talking to graduate today, I'll say graduate.
Yeah.
But to help individuals that are seeking
employment
opportunities, work and learning opportunities, and internships, learnerships, and all of. What we do is we, as I've indicated, that we administer what we call a national database for unemployed individuals and work seekers. It's called ESSA line. That's where individuals should come in and register themselves as work seekers. So then what we do, then go to different employers, as specialists or practitioners, if I can say. We'll go to different employers, and then we'll seek employment for the individuals that we have in our database, looking into what they demand, looking into the demand. Let's say TUT as an employer, not only as a university, is demanding to hire perhaps 50 lecturers. We'll then go to TUT, we do their forecasting, then we check in the near future how many individuals we want to hire, and then we'll go into our database, track what we have, and present to TUT to say we have 50 graduates who possess the following qualifications. They are looking for internships, and we have seen your internship program could hire this graduate. Then we enter into terms with different companies, and then they hire this graduate. But besides from that, the department also has its own initiatives. That we have what we call labor activation programs, which is run through the UPF, that target mostly individuals who worked, reintroducing them to the employment, back into the labor market. Apart from that, we have what we call our departmental internships. I think if you were looking into the media, our minister, announced the project 20K, where we enrolled number of interns, graduates into the program. I think it was 20,000 graduates that were coming from the field of law, the field of accounting, the field of engineering, built and mechanical, and also environmental science. So we also have internships in the department where we target, also in our sections, particularly where we target graduates. We have done your industrial psychology, we have done your public management, your public administration. So we run those internships to the department in pursuit of trying to give functional experience to pure graduates who are coming from the department. But the way of connecting yourself to those opportunities, I will emphasize, either you run into your nearest neighbor center, or if you are in a community and you'll want a certain labor department to come and collect those CVs, then you can always contact me and arrange with the colleagues across the country to be able to help you with that.
Sure. Thank you so much for that. And let me take you in on the public employment services, because I would tend to think that many people don't realize that they can register with the PES, right? I want to understand, how can they then register with the departments, employment centers, and even benefit from them? And you mentioned the labor centers. Where are these centers then based so that people can know that they can go to them, especially when you said that in those labors, in those centers, they will find qualified employment coaches or practitioners that will then assist them with the various issues that they may face. So where can they find them, and how can they register with the department centers and also benefit from them?
Okay. Number one, let's say we live in the digital technology. You can find the labor centers on www.labor.gov. That's our first labor center. And you go to public employment services. That's our first labor center. It's the online labor center, because you can reach that one wherever you are. You can reach Mr. Madisa when you're even at the studio. But across the country, we have labor centers. They are located in each and every town. If you go to, I will not know them all of them, because it's a number of them.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that in each and every time we have a labor center. For Eastern Cape, we have a labor center in Maletswai. We have a labor center in Perthworth. We have a labor center in Ngoba. That's Eastern Cape. We have a labor center in East London. We have a labor center in Kwama, Oma. Fontaine, we have a labor center. Makanda, we have a labor center. At Konse, we have a labor center. Lusukisiki, we have a labor center. You see how many are there?
Yeah.
Well, it means each and every town we will have a labor center. In Free State, just to mention a few, we have a labor center in Bethlehem. We have a labor center in Bloemfontein. We have a labor center in Botabelo. We have a labor center in Fixbeck and Harrismith. We have a labor center in Grootstad. We have a Puradichaba, we have a labor center. So it's just a number of them, even in Welcome. So in each and every town where you drop in, you'll find a labor center. In Gauteng, we have a labor center in Albertine, Atteridgeville, Soshanguve, Benoni, Boksburg, Promospruit, Harankuwa, Germiston, Carletonville, Johannesburg, even in Pretoria. I know it's in Nanasita, in Mamelodi, Nigel. So in Mpumalanga, we have them in Nelspruit, Mbombela, which we call Mbombela, Malelane, Lightenberg, Barberton. So we have them in each and every time. I'll certify that in each and every time we do what we call a labor center.
Sure. And let's bring it home and let me touch base on that. When you then mention Soshanguve and Haranku, I want to understand, are they then located in municipalities, spaces, or is it a place that I can go into? Maybe, for instance, there's a library, it's situated in a library or in a post office. Where are they particularly?
So they are situated in a department of labor. Yeah, that question is right.
Yeah.
So that we get things clear. If you know each, they are called Department of labor centers. So wherever you see something written labor center and it's in a small township or in a small town, just know that that's a Department of labor center. Like, for example, in Arankuwa, we in Sethane Tower Street. I'm just not sure of that name, but I think it's Sethane Tower Street, Zone 5, where we have a labor center.
Yeah.
And in Soshanguve, it's just in. Just want to remember the attention because we're in Pretoria, so students rush there.
Yes, please.
I just want to get the address right. But I know it's in Block F. You know where I think they call it Neat and Fast Building.
We're in the Falala. Is it the NAF?
Exactly. Falala, Block F. That's where it is.
All
So
right.
I used to work in Soshanguve, but not at labor.
Yeah.
I studied at TT. I'm a TT alumni.
Oh yes.
So I know that. Yeah, it's at Falala. That's where it's located.
All right.
Block F.
Sure.
So you can find the labor center there. Then when you get there, you look for a career counselor or for an employment specialist, then you'll find one. Then they're going to be able to assist you.
Sure, definitely beautiful stuff. Now, I will ask you this. You know what? Collaboration is key in terms of then creating opportunities. I want to understand if there are opportunities, not only opportunities, but partnerships between the department, universities, and even private companies to then help open particular doors for then graduates.
That's true. We have an MOU with quite a number of universities and TVET colleges, also business, which we call them companies, that sit with them, and we agree on terms to supply them with labor. Yeah, that's what I might not mention or single out individual institutions that we have MOUs with, but we do have partnerships. In fact, our section public employment and public employment service works to do that. I work to that practically to establish stakeholder relations where we agree on a memorandum of understanding. We will supply you with the following that you have. And each and every year we'll then supply you, and each and every time you have a demand, we'll then supply you. That's how we are able to place our work seekers.
Sure. You know what? Let me then take there's a particular pointers because I'll be letting you go soon there. If we look into the opportunities that graduates can plug into coming in from tonight, you mentioned that there are the labor activation programs coming in from your department, that there was also the project 20K, and then they can also touch base into the labor centers, or definitely go to www.labor.gov. They can find those particular centers. If I'm missing anything, you can then correct me there. I got everything coming in from Soshanguve. They can go to Falala, Block F, and look for the labor centers. I'm correct?
Yeah, just to be accurate, currently we do have, let's not just speculate, we do have trainee employment counselors. If you are in the field of industrial psychology, BPsych, you can quickly run tomorrow to any department you are going to be assisted with the application. But we also have what we call graduate internship programs for the financial year 2025 to 2027. Remember, they are 24 months.
Yes.
They are open. They are closing on the 9th of
September or October?
No, they are closing on the 12th. I'm sorry. They're closing on the 12th of September. They're closing on the 12th of September, and they are still open. You can even find them in our website. If you can run the website, you just say Department of Labor vacancies. In Google, just say Department of Labor vacancies, it will take you there. Those are the internship programs that we have. But for those that have studied your public management, your public administration, your local government management, and management in general, we have our client service officers post. I think we have 172 of them that are opened. So please, you can go and apply. We're targeting those individuals, and maybe because they also do not require experience, they just require someone who has that qualification. You can quickly go apply for those opportunities that are available. My best advice is that if you possess the qualifications that I've just mentioned, run it into the website, or you either into one of our labor centers.
Sure. You know what? 5 minutes before I let you go, let me then reiterate on what you said so that we are clear and people don't miss out. There are opportunities that are available coming in from the Department of Labor. You just go into Google, you type Department of Labor vacancies, you'll find them there. They are closing on the 12th of September. And there is that one you mentioned that you are in need of. That is the training.
I'm sorry?
You said that there was another one that is titled the training, the psychological.
Yeah, graduate trainee, graduate internship. They are also available. They are also open for application for the year financial 2025 to 2027.
And all of this can be found online at the Department of Labor vacancies.
Definitely.
All of them closing on the 12th of September.
All of them closing on the 12th of September.
Sure. You know what? I'll take one last question and I'll play a 30-second game with you before I let you go. With everything that we said, we cannot then just never mind what what employers might expect. I wish we could have enough time because there's a lot of issues that we didn't really touch base on, but we will as time goes in. Maybe we'll try to get you once again for a proper sit down. But in just a minute before taking that game, employers often say that graduates are not ready. From your interactions, what do employers really expect from graduates when they are entering their first job? Did you get me?
Yes,
Okay.
I might have lost you there. But what employers are expecting when graduates get their first job, it's what we call non-mediocrity attitude. An attitude where you want to go there and prove to the world that you're capable,
Mm-hmm.
not only for yourself, but also the other graduates that are outside there.
Mm-hmm.
An attitude that says, I am enough and I'm competent. An attitude that I am a teachable individual because you are just a graduate. Remember, you have never worked before. So you are new in the labor market. So you want to bring in an attitude that says, I have a teachable spirit. I still remember when I started working back in 2015, and my mentor was Mayor Josephina Ranko there at TUT. And she was always say, if you are not willing to learn, then you might as well come to work, because if you are still new into employment, what you need to open up for learning. You must be a teachable individual. So employers are looking for that, but employers are also looking for individuals that they can trust, individuals that they report to work on time, individuals that do not abscond work, individuals that do not take, individuals that take their work serious, individuals that respect themselves as personal individuals. You cannot be an individual that is not at work each and every Monday, who's on the kind of a person. So all of those things are the things that employers, when you're still new, they want to see from yourself. Remember, you're still building your career. So do it with caution and carefulness.
Sure. Beautiful stuff there. But you know what? Before we then close it off, let's play a very quick game. I'll throw a rapid fire choices at you. You just got a second to pick one or two. No explanations. Just your answer, your gut answer. No explanations. You don't even have to think about it, right? Are you ready?
Yeah, I am. I was born ready.
All right, let's do it. First one, CV or LinkedIn profile?
CV.
All right, internship or first job?
Internship.
Passion or paycheck?
I lost that one.
Passion or paycheck?
Paycheck.
Formal suit or smart casual for an interview?
Formal suit.
Degree or skills?
Skills.
Degree. First salary, save or spend?
Save.
Networking event or online job portal?
Networking event.
Morning person or night owl at work?
Both.
Dream job in 5 years or local company? All right. Oh, let me put it this way. Dream job in 5 years, rather be a local company or international?
Both.
Right. And to close it off, one word that would describe a successful graduate. And while you're still there, the last piece of advice that you're leaving the graduates who are tuning in with tonight.
I lost the first question.
It says, if you had one word to describe a successful candidate or graduate, right? One word. Or answer that first, right?
A graduate that is, one word.
Yeah.
Competent.
Competent. Sure. One advice in 30 seconds that you are leaving all the graduates that are listening into this particular show this evening?
The world owes you nothing. You're the one that owes the world something. As you find an opportunity, make sure that you grab it with both hands. I want you to remember that the opportunity that you're getting not only for yourself, but for many us that are outside there that are looking for that opportunity, that might have got it. There's a stigma that employers have that young people cannot do it. They do it so that they can know that young people can. We went and did it, and we believe that there are a number of capable young people that can also do it.
Sure. Mr. Sithole, thank you so much for making time to speak with me this evening. Such a beautiful conversation. Sad that we didn't touch base on some of the issues I wanted to touch base on, like the employer expectations, the workplace awareness, and even readiness. But I do think we'll make time for this conversation. Thank you so much, and please have yourself a lovely evening.
A lovely evening to you and your listeners, my brother. Thank you so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have to call it reps and stops right here. A very big shout out to Dr. Rolene Brink. A very big shout out to Me Poshia Shalate Davana. A very big shout out to Me Kidiboni Mahapa Tsilela. Very big shout out to Liseta Senosha. Very big shout out to Angela Makwela. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Polelo and Madisa. I am second of my name, first of my line. I'm Refilus Finance, the best Kalyan could offer. I am the Pitorian Prince, well known as the big nose boy in the Reddit. Kentwana Pitori Tonera Twana Ramela Polo Kamanana Jama Kunyaka Acha. Kaufala Mapanzula Wana man in everything that you do. Ungarabalo Kuitsakis and everything that you do. Ungarabalo Kugangela. Good evening and definitely good night. Up in next, say Harris, the bold man with a bold voice. Good evening and good night.
At TUT FM 96.